Varsha Khandekar, Sergeant at Arms, welcome you all to the meeting number 610 of Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club, Bangalore. I would like to start the meeting with the mission of the Toastmasters. Here, we provide a supportive, positive learning experiences in which members are empowered to develop the communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Every Toastmasters Club meeting has certain guidance to follow. First, I would request everyone to keep their microphones on mute and expect you to speak whenever invited. Second, I would request everyone to keep their videos on so that you can encourage our speakers and the role takers. Third, the role takers and speakers are requested to refrain from speaking on topics related to sex, politics, and religion to ensure the sentiments of the audience are not hurted. Now it's time for me to introduce to you all the presiding officer. She is a passionate Toastmaster. She joined Speech Weavers 3 years ago and has served the club in many roles like VP President, VP Education, and club coach. She calls Toastmaster as her positive addiction, and it's her biggest endorser. Please join your hands together to welcome our presiding officer, Deepa Sampath Kumar. Over to you, Deepa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Varsha. A very warm good evening to all speech weavers, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Welcome to meeting number 610 at Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club. 2 words today would be the meeting for today's meeting. It's resilience and adaptation. I know you must all be tired of the news that's surrounding us with the second wave. It's distressing us. And I know we must not brush it aside, but acknowledge it, but exercise our best behavior, but never let it stop us from being what we are, as Toastmasters especially. Let us be resilient, just like the ice, which is our theme. Let's be adapting to the temperature. Let's fit into the container that we're put into and change into water. And let's be Toastmasters even in this virtual platform and learn to be better communicators in the virtual platform. I declare, with the power vested in me, meeting number 610, open. As you can see, we have with us in our meeting, to make our meeting more colorful, we have so many people with us. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of DTM Kaustub, DTM Alicia Curtis, DTM Akshay Kaure, Toastmaster Cheryl Towson from Philippines, Toastmaster Meenakshi, Toastmaster Saurav, for all coming here and being part of the meeting and helping us with roles. And I also want to acknowledge the presence of our speech crafters, Prithvi, and others who made sure they tuned into the meeting, and also to our wonderful guests. I see Aditya Kapoor and Spandana join us. Thank you for all joining in today. It's now time to move on to the next part of our meeting. And in our Speech Weavers Club, we usually have a segment where we tickle your funny bones. And to do this today, we have with us a very special person. She is amazing at cooking, and she has a channel of her own on YouTube. It's called Sushma's Cooking Show. She used to work as a Montessori teacher, and for the past 2 years is on a break, trying out different ventures. And she believes in nutrition. Every one of her cooking recipes are something that's related to good health. Please welcome on your virtual screen the joke master for today, Toastmaster Sushma.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. Whatever the jokes I'm going to share with you, please consider it as jokes, not to consider as very practical. The first one, Mr. Brown and Mr. Brown and Mrs. has two sons. They have named one as Mind Your Own Business. The other one was named Trouble. One day, both the brothers decided to go to the park and play hide and seek. Mr. Mind Your Own Business starts countdown from 1 to 100, and the brother goes and hides somewhere. He began searching for brother. He goes near to garbage cans and sees, and he goes near to the bushes and looks for brother. He could not find. Finally, he decides to go to near car parking to see whether his brother is hiding near car or behind or under the car. So he peeps from the window, he peeps whether he is hiding under the car or behind the car. Then suddenly the police appears. Then he asks, "What are you doing here?" He says, "I'm playing." "What's your name?" He says, "Mind your business." "What?" I asked, "What's your name?" He says, "Mind your business." He became very furious and he asks, I said, "What's your name? Are you looking for trouble?" He says, "Yes, I'm looking for trouble. I've been looking for trouble. Do you know where the trouble is?" Then the police, he was shocked. So another joke I would like to share. Two teenage boys, they were in conversation. One is named by Bun. The another one was by name Run. Bun is a kind of boasting personality. Whatever he talks, you can sense that he is boasting. So he says to Run, "You know, other than onion, no one makes me cry. Nothing makes me cry." So the Run, he got used to that kind of talks. Inside, he is developing. He thinks, this guy in the past also troubled me a lot. I should teach him lesson. So next to him, he looks for something next to him. He finds coconut and he takes the coconut and then he puts him to his face. He says, "Bun, other than onion, nothing makes you cry." Then Bun was shocked. Bun became flat bread. Run ran away. So over to presiding officer Deepa.
Thank you, Sushma. I hope you're all hearing me. My internet is kind of showing the sign unstable internet. Anyway, I'm assuming that you're all hearing me. It's now time for us to move on to the next part and introduce the main person of today's meeting. We call this person Toastmaster of the day. He's, in other words, the MC of the meeting. And he's a very special man because I always call him charismatic. Charismatic light of the room. He knows how to light up your screens and the room that you're present in. Especially when I used to meet him in an offline setting, when he used to walk inside a room, you cannot ignore his presence. He would make sure he greets everybody in the room and makes everyone at home. He is our immediate past president, and he's had an illustrious career as the legal counsel at Cognizant and has completed 30 years of service there. Currently, he's the non-executive director of the board of directors at ABM India Impact Limited, which is an audiovisual technology based out of Europe. And he's an avid marathon runner. He's completed marathons, full marathons. He's a fitness freak. And must I add, He is a distinguished Toastmaster, passionate Toastmaster who is crazy about Toastmasters. Please welcome on your virtual screens, DTM Milind.
Up the pole, down the pole, monkey choose a black hole. Which color do you choose? With the sound of that gong, tong, we would rush, all kids during the summer vacation, to that iceman who would carry that cart with his different colors and ice over there. And we would haggle for different types of color, whether it's yellow, whether it's rose, and we would gulp that. What a divine pleasure we would get during the summer vacation, when the sun used to be hot across the plains of India, whether it's Calcutta, whether it's Pune, whether it's Kalyan, different places where I used to normally visit. Calcutta was my hometown, my native place was Pune, and Kalyan was my maternal uncle's place. Afternoon was the time at 3 p.m. when that cart vendor would come with all those magical moments. We would enjoy that particular ice ball. Of course, he was very expert. He would crush that ice, make it into ball, dip it into color, and then give it to us. And we would solve that. There was no chaos, no confusion, no contrast in our mind. We should thoroughly enjoy that ice. However, way back in 1905, there was a gentleman who was working as a director of studies. He noticed those young men who used to come to YMCA. Forget about public speaking. They could not even conduct a meeting. In every meeting, there has to be chaos. There has to be contrast. There has to be confusion. He said, enough is enough. So he had a structured meeting. The first meeting way back in 1905, the unofficial Toastmasters meeting. And since then, the formal meeting was almost 2 decades afterward when he started that journey, where he had everything structured. And even now, when we have our own Toastmasters meeting, it's a very structured form of meeting, whether it's speeches or any other parts. And that single moment of 1923, it spread from one Toastmaster in California, across Canada, British Columbia, and then all the 5 continents, across 146 countries. We have Toastmasters from Australia, we have Toastmasters from Philippines, across Ghana. So it spread like wildfire over the last 95 years. And even today, it's very structured. A normal Toastmasters meeting. So the founder of that person who formed that Toastmasters journey was none other than our founder, Lal Smedley. So let's raise a toast for our founder, Lal Smedley. A normal Toastmasters meeting has 3 parts. First part is the prepared speeches, where the Toastmasters come prepared for the speech as per their project, as per the time required for that particular project. That speech, they get it evaluated initially through their mentor, prepare it, script it, practice it, and then come and make a presentation. At the meeting, again, there's one more dedicated evaluator who ensures and gives his feedback to him. Then we have on the fly speeches which are given to, it is called as table topic. So where a topic is given on the fly and at random speakers are invited and they are asked to give their speeches. That's called for a short period of time. And the last one is the feedback session, where we have to ensure there are dedicated evaluators, there are a person who mentors and ensures he conducts that particular thing. So today we have a general evaluator who will ensure to conduct that meeting is being on. So may I request the general evaluator for the day. The general evaluator for the day is from Australia. She's a DTM.
DTM Milan.
Twice.
DTM Milan, I'd like to interrupt. We've had a sudden change. Alicia had to drop off for some reason, and we're going to have general evaluator as Kaustup Rajendra.
Okay. So today, at the last moment, we have again a change has happened. The one that pleasure of Toastmasters, even if last moment some changes happen, there are people who can take a role on that. So make sure that is being arranged properly. And today for the general evaluator, we have a distinguished Toastmaster, DTM Kaustup. So may I hand it over to DTM Kaustup.
Thank you very much, Willard. I hate to interrupt or correct both of you. I am not a distinguished Toastmaster. I'm a dedicated Toastmaster. I've been a Toastmaster for 10 years, so that's the title I got closest to any distinction in Toastmasters. So please correct that. But not to change your introduction, I'm more than happy to be appearing here in soul and spirit from Australia. So let's keep that part right, except for a small change in who's playing the role of the general evaluator. Now, coming to my role as the general evaluator, my responsibility is to observe the meeting from start to finish and present a report on how we did, what we did well, and how we can improve on. I will present this report towards the end of the meeting. To help me in this Herculean task, I have a team of 3 people who will keep a tab on the 3 main aspects of every meeting. I will now introduce them, starting with the timer. Timer, could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, General Evaluator. As a timer, today I will be making note of the speakers about their timings in order to maintain a proper timing structure in the meeting. At the starting point of your qualifying time, I will be showing the green card, and at the target time, I will be showing the yellow card, and at your end of the allotted time, I will be showing the red card. We will also give grace period of 30 seconds in order to wrap up your speech at the either side of your speech. For example, if you are giving 5 to 7 minutes of speech, I will be showing my green card at 5th minute and yellow card at 6th minute and red card at 7th minute. And if you're going to give a table topic speech, I will be giving red card at the 1th minute and yellow at 1:30 and red at 2 minutes. For evaluators, 2 to 3 minutes. 2 will be the green card, 2:30 is yellow, and 3 will be red. And I will be showing the time cards now. Please confirm whether it is visible. Is it visible?
No, it is not.
Just a second. Now, I believe it is visible. Green.
Sorry.
Yeah. Green, yellow, and red. And one more thing, I believe we are like the speakers are recommended to pin the timer on speech, because I won't be able to share the screen because audience might get distracted for that reason. So speakers, kindly pin your timer while speaking. Thank you, General Evaluator. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Meenakshi. The importance of speaking within time is to improve, is one of the objectives in improving communication. And now we move on to the accounter for today. The accounter for today, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, General Evaluator today. My role as accounter is to count the number of repetitive and unnecessary words you may use while you are speaking. I'll be observing and taking note of words like you know, but, so, and which are used unintentionally when your mind is searching for an appropriate word. I'll similarly note unintentional pauses we use during your speech. I'll present my report when called upon by the general evaluator during the meeting. Back to you, general evaluator.
Thank you. The reason we keep a tab on filler words and crutch words is that it impairs the beauty of our speech, and that's why we need to make a conscious effort to avoid them in our speeches. Now we move on to the third role player, which is the grammarian. Grammarian for today, could you introduce yourself and the word of the day, please?
Thank you so much. So I was logged into my camera. I was on camera on my other device, which just got locked off. So I'll be off camera for some time. So this is Toastmaster Saurav. I'm the grammarian for today. And as a grammarian, my job is to watch for all the seductive and simple usages of English language. As a part of that, I will be making note of all the good usages of English language and also the incorrect usages of English language. As a grammarian, it's also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. Incidentally, the theme is such that I couldn't resist the temptation of introducing not a word of the day, but rather a phrase of the day, and that too not in English. The phrase is carpe diem, C-A-R-P-E-D-I-E-M. Carpe diem means seize the moment, seize the day. This word is a Latin word, though it was actually introduced by a Roman poet called Horace in the 23rd century BC. A good usage of carpe diem could be, this is a carpe diem moment that we are doing a Toastmasters meeting and we have a general evaluator change at the last minute and we are not worrying about it at all. So thank you, and over to you, the general evaluator.
Thank you very much. Everything seems to be aligned with the celebration of the day, which is, I'm not sure if everyone knows it. Today is celebrated as English Language Day because it's the birth of William Shakespeare. And the quote, the theme that we have today is also a quote by him. Last but not least, let's have the fourth role player for today, who's the listener, Toastmaster Varsha. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, General Evaluator. Being a good listener is just as important as being a good speaker. As a listener, I'll making a note of certain important things from the speeches given today. And we'll be asking the question at the end of the meeting, ensuring that everyone was paying attention on the speeches provided today. Thank you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Varsha. It was very clear that you're going to enjoy the role of questioning others. And with that, I'll hand it over back to the Toastmaster of the day for the rest of the meeting. Thank you very much.
Let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Kaustubh for taking such an important role at the last moment. It's like a changing the umpire of an IPL match at the 11th, at the beginning of the first ball. So kudos to him. Now let's start with the first part of a Toastmasters meeting, which is a prepared speech section. Today we have 3 speakers. So before I invite the first speaker, I would like to invite the evaluator for the speaker number 1. The evaluator is from Emperor Mandarin Club in Philippines and also a member of Witty Storytellers Online Club. She works in a global tech BPO company. She's a mom of 17 years old child. She's a serial learner and loves to read books. Please join me in welcoming evaluator Toastmaster Cheryl Tazon. Cheryl Tazon, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. You might be wondering how I have a 17-year-old child. Let me just correct. I'm not that old. I have a 17-month-old little boy. So I'll be evaluating Subhadeep. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. and he's doing a speech on his last speech for dynamic leadership, and he's completing his first pathway. His speech is entitled, "It Takes an Entire Orchestra for a Symphony." The purpose of his project is for him to apply the skills needed to successfully lead in a volunteer or other organization, and for the member to share some aspect of his experience as a leader and or the impact of the 360-degree evaluation. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Madam Evaluator. So the speaker number 1 today is from my favorite city, City of Joy, where I spent my childhood days. The speaker loves to read history and literature and is fond of blue and classic rock musics. Currently is working as a senior manager with Whatfix and also runs a small business under Sugar Lens Photography. He's a Toastmaster of 4+ years. He loves to speak and listen to speeches. So please join me in welcoming the speaker 1 for the day, Toastmaster Shubhadeep. Title, "It Takes an Entire Orchestra for a Symphony." It takes an entire orchestra for a symphony. Toastmaster Shubhadeep.
Thank you, Milind sir. Just one quick update for the timer. The timing for this speech is 8 to 10 minutes. That's one. And the second thing is, am I audible properly? Can someone confirm, Milind sir? Okay, wonderful. A true leader is not a searcher of consensus, but a molder of consensus, as rightly pointed by Martin Luther King. Being a leader is not an easy task. It is certainly not a bed full of roses. It is a place where one has to take a stand, think outside his boundaries, and focus on the success of his teammates. Put their goals into perspective and focus and make them successful. And as rightly stated, coming together is, of course, the first step. Staying together is progress, and working together means success. Fellow Toastmasters and my respected guests, sharing my journey as a leader in Toastmasters fraternity with a corporate club. I still remember the day when I was appraised as the club president at Adobe Toastmasters Club back in the year 2017. I was super delighted. I was filled with excitement as if I got myself 3 cans of Red Bull, thinking of so many things that I would be able to do as a leader. Our club was a small group of 10 people. And one of the major tasks that I had pictured in my mind was to ensure that, yes, the club members are successful. Because if the members are successful, that is directly proportional to the growth of the club. And I must say that I was fortunate enough to have myself a talented set of EC people. The EC members were extremely supportive, intelligent, and most importantly, we shared a common bond of ensuring club success. When I took up the president role, I had 3 objectives in mind. They were pretty simple. They were straightforward, nothing complicated. First, I adopted a strategy called Members First. That means supporting the existing members at all costs. Any questions, any doubt, anything that they may come up with, we need to help them out. And most importantly, help them out to complete their competent manuals, the legacy Toastmaster manuals. This would not only lead them having faith in us, but at the same time increase their eagerness and willingness to give out speeches. Second, campaigning at all levels. The PR was one of the most important aspects that I had a lot of faith in. Plus, I put a lot of effort as well, since this was a corporate club. And for the club to be successful, it is of utmost importance that the club is promoted internally. This would not only attract new members, but at the same time, attract people from leadership, business leaders from different business units to help the club become successful. The third and the most important criteria, which I feel, was time. It's of great essence. Ensure a smooth meeting is a must, but at the same time, the value of time. We had to wrap up the meeting within 1 hour, 15 minutes, because that was something I committed to everyone. And I had to be respectful of everyone's calendar at that point of time. During the weekly EC meetings, we ensure to focus on these 3 items. In addition, we also heard what EC members, each and every EC member had to say, because for me to become a successful leader, I knew that I had to let my team come up with ideas. Because believe me, one finger cannot land a punch on someone. If we combine them, make a fist, that's when we can do, or we can come up with a good box, right? During the first 3 months, we launched multiple key PR campaigns, promoted the club using the TI approved banners in all the displays that are available, emailers on a bi-weekly basis, letting people know what all activities are going on in the Toastmaster fraternity. And we also organized an extempore contest for all. Similar table topics, but it was for all. To my surprise, I had 50+ registrations, and I was also able to secure Ankur Wariku. He is the founder and CEO of Nearby.com as a keynote speaker and the guest of honor. Needless to say that this was a grand success for us. And the membership count multiplied by almost 3-fold. When I started off as the president, the Toastmaster membership wasn't paid out, or it had to be paid out of pocket by every member. But sooner than later, the budget was approved. The only criteria that leadership had was one manual has to be completed within the term, and people can claim this from their annual budget. Looking back, I would say I was fortunate enough. The reason, I was blessed to have a wonderful set of people in my EC team. When I got the position of club president, I was extremely delighted. I had some ideas, definitely, but without the support of each and every person in that EC team, plus each and every member of that club, I would not have been able to take the club to greater heights at the end of the term. In addition, I must add that the accolades which the club received was only the reflection of the hard work that each and every person has put in. We achieved President Distinguished at the end of the term, and the entire success is dedicated to each and every club member, because their dedication, their hard work got us to that respected position. What I feel, this experience that I shared is of my own. But if I can have someone who had a similar set of experience, just like me, in this podium today, share his experience, his cup of plate, that would be amazing. So I would like to take this opportunity to call upon our favorite speaker, my favorite speaker, definitely, Toastmaster or the DTM Milind sir, to share his experience as the president of Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club. Sir, can you share 1 or 2 lines about your experience at the club as the president?
The experience which I learned was to take the team along if you want to conduct an event, because you can't conduct, because I had a promise during the election that I will be conducting events every month, special events. And I remember the way you joined helped me in the very first event on 15th of August by conducting that fantastic Independence Day celebration. And then I realized that what you said, 1 finger cannot do. It's 5 fingers or even more than that is required on and on to get along with them and make them sail through that entire ship. So that was my experience. Handling people, get the best out of them and try to ensure that they get their best. So that was my experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Milind sir. That was wonderful. One of the aspects which I feel a leader should possess is the knowledge, is the dedication, and the right attitude to show the path. And I feel somewhere I was able to follow that direction. I would share a reason behind that thought. I still remember during that term, I myself gave out 10 speeches in 10 weeks. And that encouraged, that motivated my other members to grab roles, to deliver speeches, and eventually letting the club be successful. So as a leader, I was able to stand in front and deliver. And each and every member did back me up. Today, I would like to conclude by sharing a famous line from Beatles. No one can whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. Thank you, and over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Shubhadev. And Toastmasters, let's give him a round of applause, standing ovation, because by this, he is completing his all the 5 parts and he's completing his single project. So round of applause to him.
Thank you, everyone.
Now we move on to the second speaker. So before I invite the second speaker, I would like to invite the evaluator for the second speaker. The evaluator is a distinguished Toastmaster, a man of many thoughts, but few words. As a profession, he's a DevOps engineer by the day and a professional trainer in the Breaks. He loves events, except not the virtual one. He's usually found buried in books and articles. He's someone who feels watching movies, series before reading the book should be made a punishable offense. So please join me in welcoming the evaluator for the second speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Akshay Kole. Akshay Kole.
Thank you so much, Milind sir. I hope you can hear me. Can someone quickly? Okay, thank you. So as mentioned by the TMOD, our speaker is going to attempt her level 1 project 1 from the presentation mastery path. So level 1 project 1, as we all know, is the icebreaker speech. And the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speech. The time is 4 to 6 minutes. All the best to the speaker, and back to you, TMOD.
Milind, is Akshay my evaluator or for Vinu?
Now, speaker number 2
I am speaker.
is a UX designer, our club secretary, the Division B runners-up in table topic for 2021. She's a mentor for a number of individual members as well as a couple of clubs. In her icebreaker speech she's attending today is from the Pathways Presentation Mastery. The speech title is My Journey. So please join me in welcoming the one and only Toastmaster Vandana, My Journey. My Journey, Toastmaster Vandana.
How do I talk about 30 years of my life in 6 minutes? Best of luck to you. A very good evening, dear Toastmasters and guests. I'm Vandana Raghavan Vadakut, and there are 3 versions of myself: a mini me, a middle me, and a big me who's still learning and growing. Mini me, my childhood, I grew up in Dubai. So my father worked at Dubai airport. My mother was a housewife, and my elder brother and me, we spent our days fighting. We had only one thing in common: our love for books. He was the exact opposite of me. He was an introvert and me an extrovert. What I remember the most about my childhood was I loved to run. Our physical education teacher came to our class, made all of us run, selected those who came first, then made everyone in our batch who won to run against each other and selected us for the school team. This meant I got to compete at inter-school competitions for athletics, and I was learning how to compete, how to prepare to work towards a goal, how to work with a team. But the one experience that really stood out was when we competed and few of us from our school were selected to represent the Gulf team at the National CBSE Athletics Meet. One year we went to Chennai and the next year to Visakhapatnam, and those were wonderful memories. What I learned the most was to prepare for a 400 meters relay race. So 4 people have to run 400 meters each, and preparing as a team. In relay, it's important to pass the baton. So it's a cylindrical thing. So passing the baton from one person to another, it means you shouldn't drop it. It's all about coordination, trusting the other person, motivating each other, being there for each other, working together. The other thing that I did before going to sleep was I would close my eyes and visualize running from start to end. So I would put my chest forward, finish at the finish line. And this kind of helped me, understand how to work and how to pace myself. And imagine yourself doing the same thing, closing your eyes and being successful at reaching your end goal. Close your eyes and think about something that you want to do. I leave this there. Now, middle me was 18. I tried out all the things in college except for singing and studying. I did everything. But what stood out for me was National Cadet Corps. I was an NCC cadet. And this was a community where I learned discipline, wearing a khaki uniform, shining my shoes, making it really bright, wearing my medals proudly, standing straight, marching forward. But what really stood out in my experience was getting to fire. Yes, we had to fire with a rifle, a .22 rifle. So we were asked to lie down with the sack supporting the big rifle. We would hold the rifle against our chest, supporting with both hands, especially with one elbow on the floor. We had the target in front. You've probably seen the target, right? Like it's just a couple of circles you have to hit the bullseye. And what we had to do was take a deep breath, leave, take a deep breath, hold still, look at the target, focus, fire. Then you take the next pellet, load, deep breath, hold, focus, fire. We did this 5 times, and after that we put down our rifle. Now this was a practice I didn't realize back then how much it would change me. Today when I panic about something, I take a deep breath, bring my focus. I don't hold my breath. I let go, but I try and bring all my concentration and fire. Today, my husband and I, when we do get time, we go to a firing range at Sarjapur in Bangalore and we compete with each other. So think about when you're panicking and trying to bring your calm down by actually focusing on your breathing and concentrating and looking at what action you have to take and go ahead. Now, the big me, I did my MBA after this, and this is when I was an adult earning money. So I was working in mortgage, and I think this is the toughest phase of my life. That is when I fell in love. Love with the thing that I still have a relationship with, which continues to be the most important thing in my life. That is my relationship with art. While I was in this boring desktop, I continued to draw, doodle, draw fun comics of my friends' instances at work. So I would work, and then in the night, I would sit and draw and paint all night up to 3 probably. I was always an owl. This made me quit my job one day without knowing what I wanted to do. I was a deputy manager. I was being paid well. And then finally, after a long break, I decided to take action, work towards a creative career. Now, 5 months ago, I became a UX designer. I'm still fresh, it's scary, but I've realized that I want to do something that I enjoyed and that challenged me. Today, when I'm nervous, I close my eyes, bring my focus, take a deep breath, I imagine towards the finishing line, or I take a deep breath, focus, and bring my attention towards my goal. Life is never easy, especially when we have to take risks. So do what we really want. What is stopping you? Over to you.
So again, a milestone speech. So let's give a standing ovation. So speaker number 1 as well as speaker number 2. Let's give. Now coming to speaker number 3. So before I invite speaker number 3, may I invite the evaluator for speaker number 3. The evaluator is a civil engineer with professional experience of 22 years. Out of that, 3 decades, he was in Saudi Arabia and a dozen years of experience in India. At Toastmasters, he's on fast track. He has already completed level 4. So please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Joseph, the evaluator for speaker number 3.
Thank you, Toastmaster DTM Milan. Our target speaker is attempting level 1, project 3. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn to review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. The member completing this project has spent time researching a topic. He or she may be speaking about a new topic or a known topic on a deeper level. About the speech, the member will present a well-organized, well-delivered speech. The speech may be humorous, informal, or any style the member chooses. The speech content and style should work well together. The project is not a report on the content of the researching and presenting project. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
The speaker number 3 has recently joined the Toastmasters journey. Though he wanted to join years back, somehow his professional work with Accenture could not make that happen. Though as a profession, he's working as an engineer in Accenture, but at heart, he's a farmer and he enjoys being in this farm where he grows multiple organic food. And not only that, he's our current VP PR who keeps on doing fantastic posters with innovative ideas every time. Even our newsletter editor is our one and only. So please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Vinu. The speech title, A Drop for You, an Ocean for Someone Else. A drop for you, an ocean for someone else. Toastmaster Vinu.
I'm audible, right? Hello, I'm audible, right, sir? Willing, sir? Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Why do we need to donate blood? Because safe blood will save many lives, and also it improves the health of not only the recipient, it will also improve the health of the donor. And blood transfusion is needed for many people. For example, a woman who is undergoing surgery, she is a woman who is with complications in pregnancy during giving birth to his child. Before or after the birth, she might need bloods. And also children who are suffering from anemia diseases and also from malaria and malnutrition. And people who met with accidents and also natural disasters and man-made disasters, all those peoples might need blood at the right time. And also many complex and medical surgeries, they might need bloods. For example, if a person undergoing an heart surgery, whoever the donor, he should be aware that he should not be you should not have drunk or smoke, or you should not have consumed non-vegetarian food before 48 hours donating his blood, because for an heart surgery patient, a fresh blood to be donated. So doctor will suggest the donor all these precautions. So there is a constant need for blood all over the world, even in our country as well, because the blood which is stored, which will not be stored for a long time, it should be circulated for whoever in need. And regular blood donate need regular donations of a sufficient number of times. People ensure that safe blood will be available whenever and wherever it is needed. And blood donation is a precious gift given by God to all of us. And even though if you are not seeing the person who is required our blood, just we will donate and come back. But the joy in donating us, it might be an lifesaver for the recipient, because he might be driving his family. So it is always helpful for the people who are suffering from injuries and other diseases. And also there are few components in blood. They will be, our blood will be separated into red cells, plasma, and also this plasma can be used for the cancer patients on a regular basis. And also for the person who met with an accident, he might require 100 units of blood at that particular moment. So in an survey, it was identified that there is a requirement of 12 million units, but we have only 10.2 million units are donated by the donors. And in many countries, blood is in many countries, including India, people usually take a close look at that at their star sign, and they will also look for astrology for the for their compatibility level. But you will be surprised by knowing this, because in Japan they will ask your blood group. So they do not rely on any astrological information, and the signs, they will only depend on the blood type of the persons. And based on the blood groups, they will decide your personalities in Japan. And also according to according to Ketsuki Gata, it is the term which means analyzing a person's personality based on their blood type. And also a Japanese publisher by name Tokeji, who published the blood group of a person which shows his personality. And also the science behind and also the four major blood groups, that is A, B, and O, are differentiated from differentiated based on their antigens, and also the percentage of red blood cells, and also it will explain how it will help in improving our immune system. So you will be in Japanese, they decide the personality of the blood group. For example, A blood group people, they will they have briefed it like the person with A blood group are sensitive and they are emotional and passionate and they are clever. And the person with blood group B, they are quick and creative and they are on-spot decision makers. And coming to the blood group AB, and they are the combination of these. They have the personalities which are common to A and B. And coming to the personality of the blood group O, they are the good leaders and they have all the uh, capabilities to take the decisions on spot, and they will not be caring on anyone. Suppose if uh, someone is making them low, even though they will target on their vision, they will not be disturbed. And few of the reasons we need to donate our blood is it will reduce us the rate of risk of heart attacks and liver alignments, and also lower the risk of cancer, because the iron content, if the iron content is more in our body, we will be affected by all these diseases. So whenever we frequently donating the blood, the iron content will become stable, and we will be reduced from heart attack, liver alignment, and also risk of cancers. And also when we frequently donate our blood, new blood cells will be generated in our body, and it is very good for our health. And also it also helps in preventing premature age. Uh, it will remove the rashes and wrinkles on our face because of the new cells accumulated in our body, and also it will help us to reduce our weight, and also reduce our cholesterol level, because most of the people will be afraid of donating blood, because they will be having some doubts in their mind. If we donate the blood, we might be suffer from a few diseases. So nothing like that. There are many benefits of donating the blood. So there are three types of donors will be there. One is a paid donor, unpaid donor, and one more which will be collected from blood banks. So I would like to conclude by saying whenever if your intention is to donate a single drop of blood, but it will be a big ocean for someone else. And the reason I started donating blood is few years back, my younger brother, he met with an accident, and he was during that moment there was no one to give blood at that moment, and due to that I lost my brother. So from that time I started donating the blood. So till now I donated blood 15 times, and also I donated platelets for a few of the cancer patients. By this I will end my speech. Thank you, and over to you, TM Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinu, for taking us to the walk the talk journey of yours by 50 times donating blood. That's an awesome journey, half century. So you need a standing ovation for that too. So with this, we are changing our gear. Now we are going into the session number 2, which is table topic. So for that table, we have a dedicated person who is known as the table topic master. The table topic master for the day is a technology manager by profession, father of 2 boys, a COVID warrior at his neighborhood, and striving to be public speaker. So please join us in welcoming the table topic master, Toastmaster Vinod. Toastmaster Vinod.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Imagine yourself watching the IPL finals now. It's the last ball of the innings. CSK needs 4 runs to win. MS Dhoni is on the crease. I don't know about you, but I start to feel butterflies in the stomach. There's an adrenaline rush. You could choose to walk away from your TV screens, or you could close your eyes, but you won't because you're transfixed. It's the same feeling I get every time I sit for a table topics session. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I'm your table topics master for today. Table topics session helps us to develop 4 vital skills: listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. I will be giving you a topic, and one of you will need to be speaking for a minimum of 1 minute and a maximum of 2.5 minutes on that topic. I urge our guests to participate because you could be the carpe diem for today. Who wants to? There's 2 ways we can go about this. One is I get to pick the person who's going to speak, or you could volunteer for getting that topic and speak about it for anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes. Are you ready for this? Who wants to go first so that I can mention the topic? Hi, Spandana, I saw your hand. Okay, Spandana, your topic goes like this. This is basically everything I'm going to give as a topic is about one thing, right? So, hello? Sorry, there's a message which says internet is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So just give me 1 second. Okay, it's the one thing topic, Spandana. So if you're allowed to break 1 law for a day, which one would that be? Just to repeat it, if you're allowed to break 1 law just for 1 day, which law would that be?
Do I get a timer, or I can just start immediately?
You could start immediately. Yeah.
So if I were allowed to break 1 law for a day, it would be all the traffic signals ever, because I've had a very bad record with them for now. I love going on treks, and I think I'd want to go anywhere I could, without any traffic signals, or without being stopped by the cops, without being asked to stick to one side of the road, without any stops along the way. And one more reason why I'd love this to break this rule is just the liberation of I've had my car towed away several times until now, and I feel like I have a pretty big criminal record because of that. I think I just really like to feel a sense of just the thing that the entire city is mine, because every day going there's so much of traffic that I see, and I feel very trapped, like I'm one small thing in this entire big system. For 1 day, I think I'd just like to feel that I own the city, I own all the places, I can go anywhere I want and do anything I want. Is that a minute? Yeah, I'm done.
It's a good one, Spandana. Well done. Round of applause for Spandana, please. And yeah, certainly I also feel sometimes I own the world. So let's move on to the next speaker. Anybody in the guests who would want to participate? Is there anybody, is it Sharmila? Are you okay to jump in? Sharmila? Okay. Prithvi, are you okay to take a topic?
Yeah.
Speak. Okay. Who is that one person who inspires you the most and why?
And the one person who inspires me to the most is Mahatma Gandhi ji. As all of us know, he's called the father of the nation. And I admire his simplicity. And he taught the world that with peace, we can win wars. So his ultimate weapon was non-violence. This was shocking to me because we have powerful weapons by which we still cannot win wars. But his non-violence has won wars long back. So that is one thing which I like about him, and his simplicity. He is a simple person and is down to earth. And he showed that with salt, we can make many miracles. So he had salt satyagraha and many other things which are still a history today. People would not have imagined that with salt, they can make such big revolution. That was something which I inspire. And he's one of my role model too. And when during my school days, when I saw him on the notes, I was wondering why Gandhiji was there on this. So later I got through the books and then read many of his books. Later I got to know about his importance, and every subject, every year we used to have no article about him. So this was something which made me close to him. So this is what I'd like to say about my role model. Over to you.
Thank you, Prithvi. Thank you. I think there's a lot of people in this group who would also be wanting to have him as or having him as the role model, Mahatma Gandhi ji. So great and that. Any other people who would want to volunteer, or should I pick somebody? I don't know, how am I doing with the time? Anybody can tell me that we have time for one more topic, one more person, or?
Raise the hand.
Oh, hi. Okay, Pratik. Pratik, here you go. This is your topic. What is one habit you want to break desperately? I mean,
okay,
obviously, it's a bad habit. Which one?
Okay, one habit that I want to break desperately is not getting up early. So the habit is not getting up early, and I want to break it desperately. Whether I sleep at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., I'll always get up at 8 a.m. or beyond that. Well, 8 a.m. is the earliest that I can get up. Everyone, right from Robin Sharma to my mom, everyone keeps on telling me, you know what, you need to get up early. You need to get up early. But why? Why do I have to get up early? I mean, I can do my things even after I get up late, right? No, you have to get up early. If you get up early, you can do all your things before 8 o'clock itself. Really? All my things? Yes, that's what earlier, like all the wise people have been kept on saying this. Well, okay, let me try that. Next morning, alarm right at 5 o'clock. No 7 o'clock, no 6 o'clock, right at 5 o'clock. Well, you know what happened after that, right? Didn't even snooze it for like 2-3 times. I shut off my phone so that no one can even call after the alarm buzzes. So, well, I've been trying really hard. You know what? I try to sleep early, but then that's not helping. I've been trying to read different books, articles, people's biography, autobiography, all the famous people I heard, they have been waking up early and doing all the great things. Well, what I want to do is I want to become famous by not getting up early, and then set an example that, hey, even if you get up late, you can be successful and famous. But then I'm trying to break that, and I'm really confused as to, if I should stick with getting up late and be famous, or just stay wake up early and then be in that same league. Now you all should tell me and advise me what should I do. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Vinod.
Thank you, Pratik. Good luck for you to break that habit. Either ways, I think you're going to become famous. Nitin, your topic is if you could go back in time and tell your younger self one thing, what would that be? So if you would go back in time and tell your younger self one thing, what would that be?
Yeah, I would probably go back and tell my younger self who would win in the horse race or car race so that I can bet in it and I can be filthy rich. That is obvious that every person want to be rich himself. So I want to try with a hard luck and want to be rich so that my life turns into a greater things. Over to you, I think.
Thank you, Nitin. Thanks for that. With that, I think I will hand it back to Milind, our team on.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Vinod, for making your table topic really enthralling. It was almost like an IPS session which you had. So good, very. So let's give a lot of applause to the Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Vinod, as well as each and every table topic speakers. Now that 2020 is over, before that we had prepared speaking, which is almost like a test match. Now is the time for post-match session, which is a feedback session. And for that, we have Harshak of today. Toastmaster Kaustubh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Milind. Well, let's start from the beginning. The beginning is not definitely 5 o'clock today. It's much earlier than that, perhaps a week earlier than that. It starts with the preparation for this meeting. I do get to see the posts that you send in the WhatsApp group, but I am unaware if you have any other social presence in terms of Instagram or meetup.com or any of those. If you have it, good enough. Otherwise, please do feel encouraged to use any or more than one of those channels, because you are getting a lot of members, a lot of people attending the meeting. If you're not doing it, then you are giving up on a scope, giving up on an opportunity to invite more members to your meeting. So please attempt that. Nevertheless, I believe the preparation for the meeting has gone well. That's evident from the agenda. The agenda is meticulous to the point that you have even the title of the speeches. That takes a lot of effort to prepare it, and whoever is preparing that has done a fantastic job of doing that. So there's meticulous preparation that has gone into the planning of the meeting and also establishing the agenda. So I would like to give kudos to the VP Education of the club who puts the effort to do that. Starting on time is a mark of reputation for a club because it shows predictability. And this club starts on time, which is a very good thing, and you should keep doing it. I was here last week also, and you started on time, so I know that it is a habit for you. Last time, however, we overshot the ending time a little bit. So as much as you are keen on starting on time, focus on ending on time also, because this being a working day and Friday evening, people would have other commitments. And if you build a reputation in their minds that, okay, if I go to the meeting, it's not going to end on time and I cannot make my 7 o'clock, they probably want to skip the meeting. So it's always important to start on time and end on time. You're doing good on the starting part, focus on ending time or on the ending part of it. The first person to come on stage is the SAA. The SAA for this meeting is Toastmaster Varsha. And she did a clinical job of whatever is required of this. And what I like best about it, in 90 seconds, she finished what is expected of her and she handed over the stage to the presiding officer. So that is exactly how the state Sergeant at Arms is supposed to do it. You could add a couple of things to that. You could be more welcoming host who's glad to see the people who have taken time to attend here. Greet them, ask them about how their week has been, encourage them to look forward to the weekend, promise them that this meeting is going to be a nourishing start to a weekend. So you can play the role of a host. It's like people who come to your house. So think of doing it in a cordial fashion as people who come to you, come as guests to your homes. That's the only thing you need to add. But from a Toastmasters protocol, whatever is expected of you, you did it fantastically well. Hand it over to the presiding officer. It is a challenge to introduce the presiding officer over week after week. So you'll always run out of things to say, and you'll probably be bored about things that you repeat. But it's a challenge to repeat. In a 6 months period, there are 25 meetings, and 25 ways to introduce the same person is an opportunity to master introducing somebody, right? So you could take the opportunity to do that. In any case, the president is a lot of things. It's not just an office. It's the leader of the club. It's a person whom you should look up to, who should be exemplary of how good this person who's exemplary of how good this club is. So when the presiding officer comes on stage, there are two roles to play. One is, of course, being the host, because you are in charge. This meeting is being hosted under your stewardship. So that part, you're doing it fantastically. You greeted the audience, you welcomed the guests. That part was done. The second part of it is you are the beacon of the club. This club is about speaking, right? Public speaking and communication. And what you could do is give us an example of the excellence in speaking that we can achieve, because you are a seasoned Toastmaster. You've been here for 3 years. You have gone through various speaking projects, and therefore you have this opportunity and time to showcase speaking talents. And therefore it might be a good thing to talk about. And that's why we have the topic or the theme of the day. So it would be good to connect to the theme of the day, connect it back to the art of communication. So there's an opportunity there, which probably because the agenda was going haywire, you didn't focus on today, but you could definitely focus on that, because as the second person who's introduced very well and projected very well, when you come on stage, there is an expectation in the audience that we will get to see what this class is about from you. And your opportunity is that 2-minute trailer to show what you can expect from the club. So never miss out on that opportunity. But as a host, you were most cordial and you were most welcoming. So good job done there, Toastmaster Deepa. Then came on the Toastmaster of the day. By the way, this club is excellent at introducing all of you people, which gives the feeling that you all know each other very well. And that is a very good thing, because that demonstrates the camaraderie you have, that demonstrates how well you're there for each other, how well you know each other. So one of the things which I don't want to call after role player is you're very good at introducing each other. So Deepa's introduction of Toastmaster, the DTM Millen's introduction of the evaluators and speakers, all of them are, praiseworthy. Toastmaster Millen, when you come on stage, you bring your own flavor of enthusiasm and energy. I have seen you for years now, and from day one when I met you, you have had this energy. One of the things that brings into it is that energy is contagious, right? That's the thing that people are attracted to, right? And subconsciously, they are attracted to that energy. And that's one of the things that attract them to Toastmasters. Now, one of the things you could overlook because of your enthusiasm is to set the context right. Why are you here with all this energy and enthusiasm, right? That's where you have to bring in that connect with the audience. So if I were to make clear what I'm trying to say is, you're in a context of yourself. You're clear that we are here for the meeting, a meeting that focuses on communication, a meeting that we are going to peer help other people who have had problems facing an audience. So you're absolutely clear about it, and you bring yourself into that ecosystem with the energy and enthusiasm. But a person who's probably come to the meeting for the very first time, or a member who's not had a great week, is getting a jolt when he sees that energy, right? So what you could do is do a slow start, talk to everyone, wish everyone, then bring them into that mood or that energy level, and then everyone will connect with you. So it's not a criticism, it's only a way to enhance and make better use of the energy that you already bring to this stage, that I'm encouraging you to try that approach going forward. Otherwise, it was fantastic. Your connection with all the speakers who came on stage, your preparation was very evident from the introductions that you gave to everyone. You knew their speech titles. So all that done fantastically well. So the only thing is, instead of that jump start at the beginning, just bring people slowly to your level of energy and then take off from there. But it's like the runway thing, right? The flight takes off. So carry on. You're like taking off directly. And the military aircraft which goes directly up. So instead of that, just run a little bit and then take everyone along with you. So fantastic job. Thank you very much, Chief. It's very good to see you over and over again on stage. At this point, let's go to the individual speech evaluations. The first speaker was Toastmaster Shubhadeep, who will be evaluated by Toastmaster Cheryl. Cheryl, over to you.
Let me just pin the timer. Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, especially to Shubhadeep. It was a beautiful symphony. Your speech was a symphony. I loved it. Let me name the best things I found in your speech. First is your gesture. It was present all throughout the speech, very consistent, especially when you put your hands together, when you say coming together, when you're really excited and happy with what's happening. I love the language, the flawless use of English language. I love the organization of your speech. It has an intro, a body, and a conclusion. I also love the vocal variety. I can tell when you're really happy and you were pausing at the right moment when the message needs emphasis. And I love the overall energy. So I was hooked the entire time to your speech. A few suggestions to further enhance the beautiful music of your speech. One is ensure that you tie up your introduction with your body and conclusion. Your introduction was about consensus. I was looking for that consensus or agreement in the body. I was looking for the disagreements among members and how did you mold that consensus together for your team. Second, your title was about orchestra and symphony. I was looking for that element of orchestra or symphony. I was looking for you being the conductor of everybody in your team. I was looking for violinists or other instruments to be mentioned in your speech. And lastly, I highly suggest you add dialogue in your storytelling. It enhances your story. It gives justice to all the good things you did in putting together that Toastmasters Club. You could come up with a story when you were given the challenge to put up a manual. For example, guys, we need to come up with a manual by next week. Someone may say, next week? We can't do that. And then someone will say, I think we can if we start doing this and that. So enhance your storytelling by adding dialogue. In summary, good job on your speech. A lot of good things you did there. Gesture, language, organization, vocal variety. I highly suggest you tie up your introduction with the body and conclusion. You add the title, make sure that the title matches with the entire speech. And lastly, add dialogue to your storytelling. And I'm sure you can make great symphony. Da ra 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 ra. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Cheryl. If I may comment on your evaluation, the three things you need to keep in mind when you're doing an evaluation. Two of them were prominent, very evident in your evaluation. The first one was all the things that you said you loved. They are the things that are the great assets of the speaker. So you brought that out. And in terms of suggestions, you gave him the areas of improvement. One of the areas that you could add is the strengths that he can keep continuing into his next speech. If you can explicitly call that out also, it becomes a wholesome evaluation. Thank you very much for that evaluation. We move on to the second speaker, who was Toastmaster Vandana, who will be evaluated by DTM Akshay.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and in particular, my speaker, Vandana. Now, let me begin by saying that it was a very disappointing speech for me personally. Why disappointing? Because as an icebreaker, you're supposed to stutter, you're supposed to forget your speech, you're supposed to get all nervous, sweaty, and just very fidgety. But
Gone.
Should I stop the timing now?
Maybe the evaluator got fidgety.
Why don't we give him time to connect back, and we'll move on to the next evaluator, and then Akshay can start all over again. So let's start with the third speaker and his evaluation. The third speaker was TM Toastmaster Vino, and he will be evaluated by Toastmaster Joseph.
Thank you. Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening to all once again. The blood donation, that is the title actually, in a different form. That's one drop to you and washing to others. You spoke about the blood donation in various forms. First of all, you have talked about how it is necessary to donate blood on various incidents and events that occur, several accidents and so aspirations and so on and so forth. The second part is the group of blood that has been required for each person at each level for each surgery or something like that. Then the usefulness of blood donation that saves the life of the people. Then the characteristic detection by the Japanese was well narrated. And also the personal benefits by donating blood, how you are benefited by yourself. So your title as well as the description of your speech was well delivered and well connected and well constructed. Kudos to you. Also, you have given a message that by donating blood, how you save the life of others and how you are also benefited out of it. And you also said that different donors paid and unpaid as well as the blood bank. These are all well constructed, well delivered in all its sense. With one challenge I would like to recommend. When you speak, you try to adjust your camera so that your only head is visible while the body is not. So you have to come up to the stage with full projection so that you have a eye contact with the audience and the audience also can see you, your stage management. Your stage management is more important as your speech is delivered as important as that. And the second thing is, if you are using the script, you try to look into it, once in a while only, not always. At the same time, if you practice a little bit, definitely you are going to deliver a very good speech. This is my recommendation. And in general, you have done a very good research, even though you are not a medical student, but you did take a great effort in doing research in accordance with your path level. Over to you, the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph. If I may comment on your evaluation, you spent a substantial amount of time recapping what the speaker spoke about, which can be avoided because that gives you more time to comment on his style of delivery and what his strengths are and how he can improve on. Because we've listened to the speech and we know the essence of the speech. It is important for you to put a synopsis there so that the speaker understands what you understood from his speech and what you're evaluating towards. So next time, reduce on the content of the speech itself and probably focus more on the ways in which he presented the speech, his strengths, what he can carry on to the next speech, and the areas of improvement you anyway covered. Thank you very much. I can see that our DTM Akshay is back. Let's go back to his evaluation of this Toastmaster Vandana speech.
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Bestcom kind of screwed up my introduction, but that's okay. I'll start over. Right. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and in particular, Vandana. So to be very honest, I'll start off with saying that I was very disappointed in this speech because as an icebreaker, you're supposed to fumble a lot, forget your speech, get all nervous, start sweating all over the place. But unfortunately, you didn't do any of those. Jokes apart, something that I really resonate with your speech was the first line that you said, that it's really difficult to summarize 30 years worth of experience in a 4 to 6 minute speech. And that is something that I think all of us understand very, very well. And I think you kind of got the essence of an icebreaker right in the first line. So great job on that. Second thing I loved about your speech was the examples that you chose when you were younger in the athletics, when you were older, when you joined NCC, and then finally when you found your passion in art and UX design. All of these instances, you showed us one thing that you learned amongst the whole journey of yours. You learned coordination, you learned the value of patience, and then finally something that truly inspires you. And that's, I think, a story of inspiration for me. Now I want to go ahead, get into more experiences so that I can learn something more than what I'm currently doing. So thank you so much for tickling, or rather fiddling with the screws in my brain. Third thing is not something that I found particularly in this speech, but something about you in general. I find that, or rather I realize that your strength is actually storytelling. And I would like to really tell you to nurture this skill of storytelling. You could have probably gone into the whole arena of storytelling instead of having 3 bullet points. So storytelling is your thing. Go for it. Having said that, there are a couple of things I'd like you to think about. First thing, I felt maybe I was wrong as well, but I felt that you were reading a script and your hand was subtly moving towards the keyboard and you were kind of scrolling up. This happened 3-4 times and that felt like you were reading a script. Now in case you're not, first of all, that it's not said in the objectives that you shouldn't read from a script, but it's always good to go without a script. And if you need to absolutely read a script, maybe have it on the top part of your screen so that you don't need to scroll and it doesn't feel like you're reading it out. Secondly, I felt that you were kind of in a restricted space where the place that you were sitting in, not that it matters a lot when it comes to a speech of your caliber, but I felt that when you actually were going to the gun part, I felt that your hand was sort of restricted. And also I felt that you were making a lot of gestures which did not sort of come out well in that restricted space. Maybe just try out a new position somewhere where you can get a lot of space to try out whatever you want. Having said that, this is probably one of the best icebreakers that I've seen. And trust me, I don't say that to every icebreaker speaker, but just think about maybe a script and the position that you're sitting in, and you'll go great in your storytelling journey with the amount of enthusiasm that you already have. A great job done. Thank you so much for letting me be your evaluator. Back to you, Costa.
Thank you, DTM Akshay. Again, I would like to repeat, when we do an evaluation, there are a lot of triggers in the speech of the speaker that trigger a lot of thoughts in our minds. Some of them we like very much. Some of them provoke us to get carried away and talk about the things that it made us think about. So as much as we get those impulses, we should try to control that and focus our evaluation primarily on the strengths of the speaker, what they can take to the next speech, the areas of improvement, and try to focus more on that, which makes it a wholesome evaluation, beneficial for the speaker. And I did not comment on any of the other speakers, but I know Vandana pretty well, and therefore I'm going to tell you two things. I agree with DTM Akshay when he said that it was a painful start. It was a disappointing start, because who in their right mind speaks with such strenuous activities as sprinting? I mean, I was thrown back into the horrendous memories when my mother used to force me to join sports activities. So it was a very disappointing start. I agree with Akshay on that. But second and most important, I have seen you very often on stage, and this did not live up to my expectation of you. There is a lot of potential that you have, and there's a lot you can do with this speech. I hope you repeat it, and it's my request, my comment, that you repeat it. It definitely needs a lot of Vandana treatment. So please attempt it. Try it again. We'll quickly move on to the table topic master. I was fortunately here for your induction last week, and therefore I know that you are a very new member and you have taken up this role. I was clear from the last time itself that you will not have a lot of difficulty being on stage, and I did not necessarily expect you to be hosting an event, but at least in a speaking role, I thought you would be comfortable. But today you have gone ahead and shown that you are okay to host an event as well. So it's not very often that we see this amount of finesse or skill when a newbie hosts an event. So that was clearly visible. Couple of things to add, and this is not a fault or this is not a criticism on you itself, but it goes with the club mentoring, right? The things that I noticed about the table topic speeches, first of all, there were only 4 speakers, and that's probably because of your time constraint. In a community club that I come from, and I believe this is a community club, right? Or this is a corporate club. This is a community club. So people have paid the fees and they have invested 90 minutes to 2 hours of time a week to come to this meeting. So everyone should get stage time. And the club committee should make sure that happens. And how do you do that? You take away all the role-playing members who get stage time, and you focus on the members who did not get stage time. Those are the ones to cover on priority. And you should make sure everyone's covered, because if a person has invested 90 minutes, then he should get benefit out of it. So you should make it a habit that everyone who's not getting stage time gets called in TT. And for that, a list should be prepared. In a regular meeting, what would happen is when the meeting starts, the presiding officer or the VP membership, VP education would prepare a list of all the members who are present there. That's the first list of people to call. Then you can go on to guests and others and stuff like that. In this meeting, people can walk in and walk out anytime they want. So at least 10-15 minutes before the event starts or the session starts, prepare a list of all the non-role playing members here and give it to the TTM, so that one, he doesn't waste time waiting for people to volunteer to speak. 2, it's a focused approach, because when there is a gap, the energy level dips, right? The enthusiasm goes, the excitement goes away, right? So that shouldn't happen. So those 2 things the club should correct, and probably mentor all the TTMs who come forward taking up this role. But that aside, which is no comment on your performance itself, you have a very promising start, and I hope you take up more roles, and definitely hosting roles, because you were warm and cordial to all the people who came on stage. So and the topics were good, everyone spoke about it. So this is something you're cut out for. Keep doing this, keep practicing this, and I'm sure you will go to great heights. Thank you. Quickly go over the table topic speakers. Spandana, I'm not sure if you're a guest or a member, but you like the topic. Your brain just clicked the moment you heard it, and it turned out like you were waiting for someone to ask you this, and you took off on a ride. So that was fantastic. It had a lot of connecting points, a lot of supporting points. Good attempt at that. Then we had Prithvi, Prithvi, I did notice a shake in your voice, so you are a little nervous, but that is very good. It shows that you are taking this seriously. That's what nervousness means. Nervousness is not a weakness. Nervousness means that you take this seriously. So that was there. In spite of that, your brain worked correctly. Most of the time, what happens is when people are nervous, their brain stops working. But in your case, that did not happen. You were able to pick a person whom you want to talk about. You were able to take more than 3 things about the person why he is your hero. So a great job done there, Pratik. You also took off on a tangent, right? I mean, you loved the topic. You've been waiting for someone to ask you why you do not get up early. So that was fantastically done. And last but not least, Nitin, go back in time. You finished it off very less. This is one of the skills that we learn at Toastmasters. Even if you have a 2-word answer, you still stretch it out to 2 minutes. That's the skill we learn at Toastmasters. You'll pick it up as we go along. So all the speakers in table topics, regardless of the fact that the last speaker did not qualify in time, you all had great thoughts come to your mind as soon as you heard the topic and you had the courage to speak about it. So great job done there. Now I'll go to my supporting team, starting with the timer. Could you please share your timer support? You're on mute.
I'm not able to share the screen, so.
That's okay. Read it out, please.
Oh, like, should I get any permission for sharing my screen?
You have to be made
Anush, can you make Meenu co-host?
Yeah, just give me 1 minute.
And also, is the voting link ready?
It's ready. I'll be posting it in the chat box immediately after this. All right.
Saurav also wants to be the co-host.
Sure, absolutely.
Everyone, can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator, and greetings, everyone. For the timing, for the speakers, this yellow card first, this green card means it is qualified time, and yellow means it is targeted, you have achieved the targeted time, and red means allotted time. This color and disqualified, it means the person is disqualified. From the speaker's perspective, 8 to 10 minutes speaker has given has achieved his targeted time, and Toastmaster Vandana second has achieved her allotted time, and there's one speaker disqualified. And I hope everyone pays attention over your name, under your name, the speakers especially. And we have another disqualified person at table topic, like Toastmaster Nitin, and one more disqualification in evaluation session, Toastmaster Joseph, just 10 seconds, he got a leap over 10 seconds. And everyone did a great job and great meeting. I hope all of you got your timings. Over to you.
Thank you.
General
Thank you, Toastmaster Meenakshi. Let's now move on to the counter for today, which is being played by Toastmaster Akash.
Because you're mute.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone again. So because of some initial technical glitch, I could note from Toastmaster Sushma, the joke master only. So for Sushma, I found one short post, and I'll read out the names for whom I couldn't find any accounting as such. So for Milind, I didn't see any. I couldn't note anything, and for evaluator Cheryl, I couldn't note anything. For speaker one Shubhadeep, I couldn't note any. For table topic master Vinod, there was no count. For Sushma, it was one arc count. For Kaustubh, I counted 3 hours, 1 For timer Meena, I counted 3 hours, 1 short pause. And for myself, I haven't counted. Sorry. For Saurav, I counted 1 hour. For Varsha, I have counted 2 hours. For evaluator evaluator 2 Akshay, I counted 1 hour. Speaker 2 Vandana, I have counted 1 and so I have counted 2 times. I think I missed Joseph sir. I couldn't count any of the crutch words in Joseph sir's speech. For Vinu Karthik, I have counted 5 plus hours and 5 plus 5 plus also and 5 plus and. For Spandana, I have counted 5 plus hours, 1 and 1 short pause, I guess. And for Prithvi, I counted 2 hours and 3 ands. And for Pratik, 1 and for Nitin, 1 hour. That is the our counter report for today. Back to you, General Value.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akash. You need to keep in mind that the reason we make a report of the crutch words or the filler words is to call it out if it impairs the quality of the speech. So 1 or 2 instances of these so-called words are not a problem, right? When it user uses it repetitively and uses it to mask his lost track of thought and all those things is when we have to, and that's when it becomes beneficial to it. So the next time you do this role, and the VP Education, please make a note to advise all the accountants who come from it, just make a note of it and repeat it point it out to the speaker if it impairs the quality of their speeches. Otherwise, you can forget about it. We don't want people to develop an OCD about our the clutch words and the filler words. Moving on to the grammarian, which is the most sought after report, at least in my case. Let's move on to that report now. Grammarians.
Thank you so much. I'm sharing my screen. So any good usage of English language, I said that I will be watching for seductive and sinful usage of English language. So let me start with the rhetorical devices. Rhetorical devices are things which we use in a speech, which improves the quality of the speech. Think of it as the garnishing in your meal, that spicy chatpata masala that you add to your chaat. So these are some of the things which really makes your speech the next level. It takes it to the next level. So quite a few good usages of rhetorical devices throughout the meeting today. So to start off with, there were a couple of uses of anaphora. Anaphora is when you have successive beginning and you keep repeating that to make a lot of emphasis. So Shubhadeep used this, any question, any doubts, any concerns. Vandana used this, how to compete, how to prepare, how to work as a team. Then the other one was epizeuxis, which is repeating the same thing for emphasis, or repeating the same meaning, the same spirit for emphasis. So Shubhadeep used this, their dedication, their hard work, and then he went on talking about a couple of other things. But the emphasis was again on those qualities, dedication, hard work, diligence, and so on. The third good usage was of enumeratio, which is a detailed description. And this is something that Deepa did when she was introducing DPM Millen. So an avid Toastmaster, an avid reader, a Toastmaster, marathon runner, blah, 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 blah. So again, a long sequence of adjectives. So when she does that, what essentially happens is we are like all waiting to know who this person is that she's describing so passionately. So that is what comes out when you use an enumeratio. There were quite a few alliterations used during the meetings. Alliterations are some of the easiest of the rhetorical devices to use. Basically, the same 2 words starting with the same letter. So fitness free used by Deepa, whenever and wherever used by Vinu. Vandana used mini, Kaustav used slow start. One very good usage is antithesis, where you use 2 words which are actually which actually have got an opposite meaning. So for example, needless to say. So if it is needless, you don't need to say, right? But then when you say needless to say, it is kind of making that it's so obvious. The meaning makes sense, but in some sense, it's an oxymoron. Or, for example, the other one which Shubhadeep used, sooner than later. A very easy use of rhetorical device is the rule of three, where you repeat the same thing or repeat a thing 3 times or use 3 adjectives. So, for example, Shubhadeep used this, coming together, staying together, walking together. So the rule of three is a very powerful one. So when you're describing someone, if you say she was beautiful, she was graceful, she was mind-blowing. So that if you use 3 adjectives, it brings out a very strong emotion about that particular person. The other one that was used is hypophora. You ask a question and then immediately give an answer. How do I talk about my life in 6 minutes? Obviously, she gave an answer immediately after that. So this is a good example of hypophora, where you ask a question and then you give an answer. You're not looking for an answer. You're going to give the answer. Kind of related to this is a rhetorical question, where you ask a question and you don't expect an answer at all, which is what Vandana ended her speech with. What is stopping you? Nothing. We know the answer, she knows the answer, and she knows that we know the answer. Then the next one is an epistrophe, where you're using the same ending and successive sentences. Quite a few usages, and these are very hard to use, by the way, but today's meeting just showed that how good speakers we had. So DTM Milind used no chaos, no confusion, no conflict. Coming together, staying together, working together. No, we had the other one is, I repeated this. Then we had personification, intangible to tangible, where you give a personification to something. This was used by Vinod, butterflies in the stomach. So we literally don't have butterflies in our stomach, but he was trying to give that feeling that I was nervous. So he was personifying it, saying that butterflies in my stomach. Try to get a little adventurous and try to use something different, because it's becoming very common to use that phrase. So why not try something like dragons in my stomach or dinosaurs in my stomach? There was a very good usage of epithet, which DTM Milind did, Harsh Vogle of today, for Kaustav. Then analogies, there were a couple of usages by Kaustav. Your opportunities like that 2-minute trailer, or it's like that runway thing. So again, these are like comparisons which help you get it in perspective, so that it's easy for you to understand what that person is saying. There was a hyperbole used. It's an exaggeration which Akshay used. One of the best icebreaker speech I've heard. Now, given the kind of experience Akshay has, I'm pretty sure that he has heard many icebreaker speeches. But when she says, it gives the speaker a lot of good feeling. And where you omit certain words, and he did like this, your brain just clicked. So this was an omission of some of the words that could have come in between. So very, very good usage of rhetorical devices, which are very hard to use. And I've never seen any meeting so many rhetorical devices used by so many speakers. Now, moving on to some of the good phrases and usages, Deepa used avid, DTM Milind used city of joy, Shubhadeep used symphony, molder of consensus, Kaustav used cordial, exemplary, and Akshay used this word stutter. I really like this word because it is something which is not very common, but conveys a very powerful meaning. Now, some of the simple usages, incorrect usages of English language. So it's not number one speaker, it's first speaker. Because you already have evaluators, when you say number one speaker, it feels like you're trying to say that the speaker is the best. So that could convey a different kind of an emotion. The past tense of drunk is, the past tense of drink is drunk or drank. So you don't have drunk, there's no word called drunk. Changing our gear, we don't change our gear. What you meant is changing gears. So let's PDM today. So, okay, by the way, the carpe diem, what was used by only one person, Vinod, but then the usage was not right. You may have your carpe diem moment. So you cannot be a carpe diem, you can have a carpe diem moment. Go anywhere I could, go anywhere I can. Who's the one person who inspires you the most? Who's that one person? See, when you're talking about one person and most, you have to use the word that, because that is like, you are making that person stand out. The is a very generic adjective. Is a very generic article. Every person wants to be rich. All of us want to be rich. Frigidity, the word is not frigidity, it was pronounced as frigidity. It is actually fidgety. So there is no R there. Group of blood, no, it's blood group. There is no group of blood. How you are benefited by yourself, how you benefited. By yourself, not required. You are benefiting, that's it. One challenge I would like to recommend. You don't recommend a challenge. You make a recommendation. One recommendation I would like to do. All of us understand very, very well avoid these terms like very, very, so, and so on. One thing that you learn amongst the whole journey, you don't learn something from amongst the journey, you learn something from the journey. One thing you learn from the journey. And second and most important, that was something that was mentioned. If it is second, then it is not most important. If it is second, then it can be equally important. So second and equally important is a better usage of it. With this, I end the grammarian report. Thank you, and over to you, Chandra.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Saurav. That was indeed an exhaustive and educative report. Thank you very much for that. It takes diligence to come up with a report like that. It takes immense listening skill to do that. And it takes a certain amount of compassion to let our people learn so much to prepare a report like that. So a job very well done. Thank you very much for that. We move on to the last report for today. It's more of a play of words. The listener's report.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So I have prepared few questions. Here they go. What is the title of the first speaker that is delivered by Shubhadi? Can anyone? Nobody remembers? Okay.
I should because I'm his evaluator. It takes an entire orchestra for a symphony.
To be specific, no one can whistle a symphony. It takes the whole orchestra to play. Okay. Then, how many speeches did Shubhadeep deliver in a week when he was a presenter of the speech viewers?
10.
Yeah.
10.
Yes, 10. Okay, next. What are the 3 versions of Vandana?
Mini-me,
Yeah.
middle, and I forgot.
Yeah, it's mini-me, middle-me, the big-me. Okay, the next one. What does Vandana do when she panics or she gets nervous?
She takes a deep breath.
Yeah. Was that the evaluator?
Sorry, I should have said that.
Okay. Okay. Which country has done research based on the blood group of a person?
Japan.
I see all the evaluators giving the answers. Okay. This one. Which type of blood group is considered as a sensitive and emotion person?
O group.
It's A. O is the good leadership and decision maker. Okay. That's it. I have only these questions. Thank you, General Evaluator. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Varsha. I have to say that the meetings filled with a lot of camaraderie, there's a lot of warmth in the meeting, which shows that you all know each other. That makes it a great place to be, and that makes you to want to come back every meeting. So that's one of the highlights of this club, and you should keep it up going forward. And to keep it up, what you do is have as much fun as possible, and don't focus too much on getting it right. Don't pay too much of your, don't stress too much on getting it right. Have as much fun. And like Ralph Ismaili said, you learn more when you are having fun. With that, let us thank China. And there is a reason we have to thank China. It's a holiday in China, and that is why I'm here. Because when it's a holiday in China, we do overnight releases. So there was an overnight release yesterday. So I have a free Friday, and I could come here and be the general evaluator for you guys. Thank you very much. I had hoped to listen more about Shakespeare's quote. Hopefully the next time we have a meeting, you'll speak more about, everyone will speak more about the theme. Thank you very much, and over to the TMOD.
Let's give a lot of thanks to Toastmaster for a fantastic evaluation, a comprehensive evaluation, well detailed, at the same time very inspiring. So if he was not a critic, he was a person like last night he said, enjoy. The more you enjoy your work, so that is the icing on the cake. It's a pleasure to have you, Toastmaster Council, taking the work on the fly, but participants to vote on the voting link which has already been shared. And with this, I hand it over to the presiding officer, the president of our club, Toastmaster Vandana.
Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster DTM Milind. I think we have a voting form released. I hope you're all opening in your chat box and finding the best role taker and participant and voting for them. In the meantime, I have a few announcements that I had to make. First one is that we had a officer role that was open to be filled up, and we did find a nominee for that. We'd asked for nominations and we did find Sushma. So Sushma is going to take over as Sergeant at Arms. She's already at work today. She will be releasing the certificates. And the second announcement is that we will have our next session, speechcraft session tomorrow, and it's going to be a contest among speech crafters. So I would urge all of you to join and encourage our speech crafters, and so that we can have more people enrolling into our club eventually. And that's all the announcements that I have for today. Others, do we have, can I get an update on how many have voted?
Good evening to Toastmasters and guests. I have all the results here, but unfortunately, we only happen to have 7 responses. There are about 16 participants here, so please go ahead and vote for your favorite speakers so that I can reveal the results to you immediately.
So I'm voting. I hope you all are as well.
I happen to have 8 responses now.
Done. And it was wonderful to see Varsha, you were so fantastic as a listener. I mean, you even identified that it was the evaluators answering them. Good one at that. And I noticed Vinod was really good at table topics master. I mean, for the first time, I really congratulate you for doing such a fantastic job. Going ahead, you will have more opportunities to speak and even learn impromptu speaking and speech making in various contexts, different kinds of speeches. So I would really look forward. I'm really looking forward to your icebreaker speech sometime soon. So you can schedule your icebreaker speech. Probably first talk to your mentor and then prepare a rough script. And I actually would urge you to slot yourself first, and that will help you move faster at preparing. So you can contact Mayur and you can fix a slot for your icebreaker speech. And in other news, do we have any other news? Do we have Mayur with us? Okay, he's not there.
Yeah, I just wanted to share the design, the front page of the newsletter submitted for the best newsletter.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you see my screen? No. Okay. Can you see my screen now? So this is the design. This is for the January one. Okay. So there's one more that Vinu has prepared. It's yet to be published. So yeah, so just some inlay this thing. And I want to thank this page I added that I wanted to share. So we had 2 guests who shared, their experience literally at 11 o'clock in the night, and they sent this to me. Thank you. And so just wanted to share, when someone says the word of the day, that's actually, I try to draw Mayur, and that's me when your mentee aces a speech, and that's Milind when you are the only speaker with no R's and ums. Okay, thank you, Deepa, over to you.
Thank you, Vandana. That's indeed a good job at your artwork. I'm not sure which software you use and create all of it. Really good job done. It looks very professional. And the doodles, of course, I must say you are very good at doodling people. Adarsh, I think we can have the announcement of the results.
All right, I happen to have about 12 responses. I was expecting a total of 16, but I think we can go ahead anyway. So as for the first role, which is the best supporting role, it's going to go to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Deepa, for her very impressive and energetic role of being the presiding officer. Moving on to the next role, which is the best auxiliary role player, and this award is going to go to grammarian Toastmaster Saurav for his comprehensive and impressive grammarian report. Moving on, we're going to go on to the best role taker, and the best role taker for today is Toastmaster Kaustubh Rajendran, who was our general evaluator for today. So we happen to have a couple of more left, and yeah, we'll be moving on to the best table topic speaker of the day. And the best table topic speaker for the day is Prateek Agarwal. Wonderful job. And for the best speaker of the day, we have Toastmaster Shubhadeep for his very impressive speech on something that most people should know. Finally, last but not the least, we happen to have the best evaluator role. And the person that played the best evaluator role today, well, it's slightly split, but we do have a winner here, and it is distinguished Toastmaster Akshay. Thank you very much for participating, everyone. And I had a great time listening to each and every one of you, and I hope to see you once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adarsh. You've been an exceptional Zoom master. You were seamless. A big round of applause to our Zoom master and vote master for today, Adarsh. That brings us to the end of our meeting. I hopefully will catch you again Friday, 5 to 6:30. Until then, goodbye, see you, and have a great evening ahead. Bye.
Thank you.